Sell high. Heath, who do you want to sell high on?
Well, like I said it earlier, but I'll just say it again. I'm still selling high on the old running backs. Basically 29 or older and currently a top 20 running back, I would entertain selling high. It's just got to be very high. I mean, 5 of the top 18 running backs fit that category. I think maybe 3 of them hold out, but 2 to 3 of them will stay in that category. So I would be willing to entertain offers on Kamara, on Henry, on Aaron Jones, on James Conner. I guess it was 4.
The Saquon doesn't qualify. He's not old enough.
I wonder who has production that you feel like is sell high. You know, if you remove the age concerns and you would still say, yeah, this guy's doing too well right now.
You mean like fluky?
Yeah, because I would think of, like, I love Kamara, but the fact that Taysom Hill has missed time has definitely helped Kamara. And we saw it. Taysom Hill had 2 rushing touchdowns on Sunday, and then Kamara only got his when Taysom Hill left. And I expect a split near the goal line going forward. So even if Kamara stays healthy, he's RB 1 or 2 right now.
1.
You know,
yeah,
he's 1. He might be. I think he's still like 5 if he stays healthy in full PPR. But if you're looking at Kamara in a half PPR league, I mean, I think even just from a production standpoint, even if you're not concerned about age, I think there's sell super high. Basically, name your price, right? But that's who I would go with. But what about you, Heath? Like, do any of those old running backs, you look at them and go, yeah, I just don't buy the production?
I would say that probably, well, it's not, no, I don't buy that Aaron Jones and James Conner are going to stay healthy all year. And you've got a month of good health already. So I would say that doesn't quite fit. And somebody said in the chat, why are we still doing this age thing? I get it. Like 4 weeks, especially, like, trends are set, efficiency and volume is pretty much set. But we were talking about historical trends that have lasted for years, maybe decades. And it's been 4 weeks. So I'm just not going to throw all of that out because of 4 games.
So let's say I'm a fantasy manager that is saying what the chatter is saying. This is hogwash. Who cares how old these guys are? They're awesome. I'm winning because of them. Why would I trade them now? Number one, you're overlooking what Heath said, which is sell very high. You're asking for a king's ransom for them. Number two, if you decide to keep them, what can you do to make yourself feel better about the build of your team, knowing that these guys are older running backs? I think it's pretty easy in the case of Aaron Jones. You see Ty Chandler. We've got a small sample size of what he can do when he gets an opportunity. We even had a teeny tiny sample size this year. I'd want to have Chandler with Aaron Jones. When I look at James Conner and Alvin Kamara, is there a 1-to-1 replacement there? I don't think so. That makes me a little bit nervous about those guys. Does it make me want to trade them more? Maybe a little bit, but I kind of like, this is where I'm going to talk out of the other side of my mouth, because I agree with the chatter. Why would I want to try to move these guys unless I just get something that's like obviously an overpay in return? And I can ask for that. I just don't know if anybody's going to give it to me, because every single fantasy manager is going to say, well, but your guy's old and there's no way he's going to keep this up. Here's where I'm going to come out and talking. I think all these guys, as long as they stay healthy, can keep it up. I don't think that there's a fluky one in the bunch.
Maybe Connor, just because he has 1 catch in 3 straight games. Kyler Murray has one of the lowest running back target rates. So, you know, if he doesn't score a touchdown, then, you know, he scored a touchdown in 3 or 4 games. And then in 1 game, he had just had a terrible game. He had 10 touches. But no, I kind of feel like I don't care about the age. I'm sorry. Like, I see young running backs. No, yeah, I see young running backs get hurt all the time too. And to say, like, historically we don't have, I don't know that we really have had a lot of running backs, you know, even be fantasy relevant at this age. I don't know that we have a lot of failures because we haven't had that many examples. But we had Mostert last year be really good. I mean, even Derrick Henry making it through a full season last year at his age with his workload. Guys are better at sports now at older ages. So,
right. But you do know, like, at some point it is going to happen.
Right. The sky is falling. So when does the sky fall? Could be week 5, could be week 4 of next year. You just don't know. So again, if you're going to keep these guys, try and safeguard it. It's almost the same advice that we gave for McCaffrey way back in August when we learned that he hurt himself in camp. Get the backup if you like the backup, or just get good depth at running back. And you might already have it. If you've got James Conner and you're starting him, and you've got Zach Moss or Chase Brown, I don't know why I'm naming Bengals running backs, but you get my point. Somebody who's decent on your bench, then you're kind of protecting yourself in case of the old guys getting old.
All right, who are you selling high on, Dave?
Most of the guys on my sell high list are the same as last week. Jones is on there. Zach Moss is on there. That's a new name. He just scored a touchdown last week. It was kind of on a flukish play.
Yeah.
And I think Chase Brown eventually will take over. So going back to that trade that I offered where I would be getting Moss, I'm just decimated for skill position players. So that's part of the reason why I did make that trade. Drake London, if you're nervous about how he looked in week 1, I know that he has 28 targets in his last 3 games, but he's proven to be pretty touchdown dependent. And just some metrics, 10.1 yards per catch. His ADOT's 8.3. He has 1 explosive play this season. I wonder if you could get somebody to bite on him and maybe overpay for him. And then Stefon Diggs.
Drake London.
What's up?
You said Drake London?
Yes, that was Drake London. And then Stefon Diggs is another one. Some of his stat lines this year include a rushing touchdown. That was last week. First time he's ever run for a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns back in week 1. I think he has 1 game this year with double-digit targets, certainly with double-digit catches. His receiving average is pretty low, and he still carries brand name value. Everybody in your league knows who Stefon Diggs is. And when Joe Mixon comes back, I wonder if that's going to hurt him. Plus, Nico Collins is becoming an alpha. So he is. I think you could get something better than expected for Stefon Diggs right now.
And I would buy, if you could. I mean, I just picked up Tank Dell on waivers, but
yeah,
I would buy super low on Tank Dell. I don't know if people even want him anymore. I still think in bye weeks, when you're like, crap, I have to start Tank Dell, he could have a 25-point game. Now, obviously, I've lowered my expectations for Tank Dell quite a bit, but I'm saying, like, if nobody wants him, that just goes with Stefon Diggs, as the sell high, which we also had Jacob say that. What would you try to get for Drake London? Would you want to get, who would you rather have, Drake London or Travis Etienne?
Etienne's going to be higher in the trade chart, I believe.
Because the one thing about London is I think he's 9th in target share.
Oh, he gets a lot of targets. They're just not great. Yeah, Etienne's just ahead of Drake London. Do you think you can get Jordan Mason? Probably not. The teams that have Jordan Mason, unless they're loaded at running back, probably would not do that. Brian Robinson Jr. might not even be enough. Let's go a little higher. What if you go after one of those older running backs that Heath was talking about? James Conner, for example.
For London?
Yeah. Full PPR, obviously. You can't do it in non-PPR.
So the Falcons I want to talk about the Falcons and the Seahawks here. The Falcons are interesting to me, right? Because I've been thinking about this trade a lot. Should I offer Ken Walker for Bijan Robinson? I don't love trading for players who are on the injury report. If he's active tomorrow and everything seems fine, then I might make the deal. I might make the offer. I have no idea if the Bijan manager would even accept it. But the Seahawks are scoring 10 more points per game than the Falcons. The Falcons are one of the lowest scoring teams in football, I think. They've played Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Kansas City, and New Orleans. It's not exactly an easy schedule, but they suck right now offensively. And their offensive line will hopefully get healthier. They got 2 starters out. But yeah, I mean, that's what concerns me about Atlanta is like Cousins has -1 rushing yards this year. He can't move.
Yeah, that's not indicative of anything.
No, usually he's a guy who can use his legs a little bit and make something happen. He can't move. They're not getting explosive plays at all. You just outlined it with Drake London. If they do get it's
true.
Mooney. So
yeah. Well, right. That's not right. They're not getting explosive plays doesn't have to do with the team as much as it does. Or what am I trying to say here? London doesn't get a lot of explosive plays. Mooney's the one who can make some explosive plays. Bijan can make some explosive plays too. They can come on runs, not just catches. He also had a touchdown called back last week.
Yeah.
And when I went back and watched the game, I thought the offensive line did pretty well, actually, at protecting Kirk Cousins. There were times where he got hit, obviously, but like when you lose 2/5 of your starting offensive line, you think calamity is about to ensue, and it didn't happen.
I'm just saying, I don't know that I want to necessarily be getting more shares of the Falcons offense and giving up pieces of a good offense to get it. Like, I would trade Aaron Jones for Bijan Robinson, but at this
of course, everybody would.
I know, but if he stays healthy, like the Packers offense to me is so much better than the Falcons offense. I would do that trade, but Walker for Bijan, you know, like
Aaron Jones is on the Vikings. Just
right.
I'm sorry,
sure
but the Vikings offense is still to me so much better.
Sure.
And you know, the Falcons have 10 big plays this year. That's 25th in the NFL. My whole point is I'm worried about the Falcons. Now,
so is this your so you did this last year. You gave an early to mid-season whammy on Travis Etienne, and it worked out. Etienne was not great down the stretch last year.
Oh, you talking about Ken Walker?
No, are you doing?
No,
I'm not sure who you're doing that for, because you say you want Bijan Robinson and that you want to turn Ken Walker into Bijan Robinson, but then you just laid out how bad the Falcons offense is.
I'm not sure I do. I mean, I'm saying, like, I don't know that I want to buy into anyone on the Falcons, but Bijan, 4 or more catches in 3 of 4 games. That's huge. So in full PPR, I think that's big. Here's what I don't love about Ken Walker. In week 1, through the first 3 quarters, he played 6 snaps on third down. Zach Charbonnet played 1. He had 20 touches. Charbonnet had 4, I think. It was the Ken Walker show. Now It is back to being the 2023 split. And Walker in week 4, and this could change. Maybe it's just because he was healthy, but I don't really think it will. In week 4, Charbonnet got that third down roll back. Charbonnet was in a lot during the 2-minute drill, during the 4-minute drill. And yes, he did catch 4 passes, but Geno Smith threw over 50 passes. Geno Smith is not throwing to his running backs much. He's like got the 4th lowest running back target rate on first and second down. And I'm just saying, if you're looking at Ken Walker as a 2-down running back, just go back to where he was in the first 7 games of 2023. He was one of the best players in fantasy. I bet we were taking him in the first round if we had done let's do a first round draft right now. He finished as like RB 17. So it's just, if they get game scripted some games, if he doesn't score a touchdown, that's all I'm saying about Ken Walker, is that you want him to have that third down role that he had in week 1. He didn't have it in week 4. It's on my radar as something to maybe think about selling super high on him for a first round value.
Heath, do you want to react, or can I go?
No, you guys are doing great.
Okay, thanks. I don't know how great we're doing, but I don't know if I'm ready to say that what happened in week 4 is definitely what's going to happen moving forward. Remember, it was Walker's first game back, and so maybe they didn't want to put too much on his plate. He ended up doing quite a bit, obviously, and he looked good doing it. So I think the door's open for them to revert back to what it was like in week 1, where Walker is dominating. And I also think that what we saw from the Seahawks defense isn't indicative of what that defense is. I think their defense, once they get healthy, will be very good, and that'll help Ken Walker have some favorable game scripts where he can just get 20 carries, 22 carries, and come up with triple-digit yardage and a touchdown each week.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously he's off to a great start. I just wanted to point out a change in his role. And okay.
Honestly, if anything, I think you kind of sold me on Bijan maybe being a little like, maybe I have him properly placed on the trade chart after all. I was nervous putting it out there. I think he's 9th among running backs on the trade chart, but I kind of think that's what he deserves right now.